the voice of the region. Where authentic news and entertainment meet. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
When politics unfolds, when decisions are made, we reveal the impact. Welcome to the Polity, your deep dive into the forces shaping governance, policies, and power. From the halls of government.
You were there. I was not there. Check the record. Wait now. I was not there.
To the voices of the people.
We are suffering. This suffering is too much. It's too much. Look at the students. There's no job. They finish school. There's no job for them.
We analyze the undercurrents, expose the intrigues, and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ebuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Good morning to you and welcome to the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. My name is Chisom Chinedu, and of course, Franklin Ebuka is here with me. Good morning, Franklin.
Good morning, Chisom, and maybe in the spirit of the 10th WAFCON title that the Super Falcons won. Of course, we are still in that euphoria, and we are giving an exciting morning to all Nigerians. And we are ready for today's conversation. Over the weekend, can we say that a lot happened politically?
Definitely.
A couple of them, especially what happened in Anambra State, where we saw the Anambra South Senatorial District endorsing the candidacy of the governor of Anambra State, the incumbent, Governor Chukwuma Soludo, saying that they are behind him for this November 8th Anambra election. On that same Saturday, I think, was it Saturday, that the APC candidate also had thank you rally at Opo, where they also try to pull some crowd at that very event. I think that same weekend too, there was also something coming from the YPP governorship candidate, talking about support Chikoma. So we can see that a couple of them are trying to get their ass together, trying to imprint themselves in the memory of the electorate who are going to decide who becomes the next Anambra governor by November 8th. So maybe by the time we get into the normal conversation, we'll talk more about these developments.
Definitely. Of course, we're not alone in the studio. We have Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki here with us to do justice to all of the analysis. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Chisom Chinedu. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Anambra, Onitsha. It's always a pleasure to be here, and we're back in our sanctuary after the weekend. Weekend was a beehive of activities, as you have mentioned. And we are just back, and we believe that they will do justice to issues that we'll be bringing on. And we also say good morning to God Almighty, who has kept us alive and making us to be where we are. This very point is always a pleasure to be here.
Definitely, we are going to start by telling you what the front pages say. And right after that, we are going to start telling you, of course, in detail, what stories we'll be looking at today. A lot of advertorials here in honor of Yilwatda, who is now the new APC national chairman. But on the front page of the Vanguard, you'd see that $21 billion loan, ADC is demanding full audit of last 10 years loans. Presidency NAS APC mom on page 12, State of the Nation with current system, as saying will loot Nigeria. Anya on page 14. 2025 budget funding under pressure as oil output underperforms in H125. That's on page 25. Miracle of Rabat. How we overcame Morocco by Super Falcons. Find that on pages 10 to 11. Of course, like I said earlier, the rest you'd most likely see Would I call it a congratulatory advertorial for the new APC national chairman, who is the former minister of the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry. Also, malaria kills 9 Nigerians every hour. That's from SFH. 2027 presidency, we are not fixated on zoning, ADC has that to say. Drop your 2027 ambition, support Tinubu's re-election. Idimogu tells Peter Obi, NIMET forecasts rain, flash floods nationwide. It is time to work. Someone who swears in 57 council chairman.
Okay, for that very story coming from Lagos, where someone told the local government chairman that they should not appoint aides without his approval. So does that supposed to mean that the local government is still independent in that very state? Okay, so let's go over to the Punch newspaper and see the headlines we have there. And just like Chisom highlighted, there is an advertorial here taking major part of the front page of the Punch newspaper, which is from PBT door to door. Actually, this very door to door is being sponsored by the owner of Atlantica Security Services, Tom Polo, and they have this very congratulatory message in respect to the emergence of Professor Nentawa Goshwe Yewada as the APC national chairman. So away from this, let's get to the headlines. The better headline below the nameplate says fear war breeze as Dangote presses Tinubu to ban imports. You can see the story on page 28. It has a rider, Ipman Petron pushback once against monopoly. Dangote insists on Nigeria First policy. Dangote is saying that this very policy of Nigeria First, that fuel, in fact, most petroleum products like fuel and diesel should be included so that we can grow the economy. But the marketers are not finding very funny, saying that Dangote is trying to push for monopoly so that he can monopolize the market. Other headlines: APC defense Yewada amidst fierce opposition over INEC ties. Maybe we can look at this because they are saying for somebody who was appointed REC in 2017 and he served for 4 years, and during his time he was supposed to be neutral in his activity, but in 2022 he was in full-time politics, showing that he was active in his days as a INEC REC. And they are saying now that we have him as APC national chairman, would that ties influence the outcome of the next general election? A state on high alert as Adamawa flood death, or rather state on high alert as Adamawa flood death toll rises. Expired visas, overstayers have till September for regularization, says FG. Ogun imams reject daytime curfew for monarchs' burial rights. Olubado, Ibadan awaits Ladoja as Olakulehi mourning period ends. And this one says Tinubu's $21 billion loan debt trap for Nigeria ADC. ASU threatens action over FG's failure to honor 2009 deal. And this one says Zamfara village grieves as bandits kill 35 over ransom. And the last story from the Vanguard says WAFCON, Tinubu to host triumphant firecomes today. Of course, they are expected to arrive in Nigeria today, all the way from Rabat, Morocco. And these are the stories we have on Punch newspaper this very morning.
All right, from the Punch newspaper, we are proceeding to the Tribune. Front page of the Tribune newspaper, ATC to Tinubu diplomacy, not a side hustle. Let's see. Okay, I need to be sure that is the right one there, because
that should be Nation.
Yes, I think I should be taking the Nation now, right? Sanwo-Olu bars new council chairman from appointing SLGs. That's on page 6. Tinubu's policies reviving private sector, says Dangote on page 29. Nigerians proud of you, President tells Falcon in video chat. That's on page 55. 25-day daytime electricity load shedding begins in Lagos on page 6. And some more of the advertorials, congratulatory advertorials for Nantewa. Excuse me. Reps propose all election for one day in 2027. Our expectations from Yowata by Carlo South leaders. Len Tawe is a perfect fit, Tompelo's door-to-door campaign says. I know, I've been thinking, Franklin, how much Tompolo would be investing in all of these congratulations that he's been doing for quite some time now.
For somebody who was over contract to protect our pipelines, don't know how much he rakes in. So this is a way for him to pay back to the government that gave him that very contract.
That is really, really scary.
Of course.
You know, it is funny how out of a bunch, one person just, by the bunch, I mean the team that he worked with on the entire agitation for the protection of the Niger Delta environmental space and how it is going so far. It's not like the Niger Delta environmental space has much protection, especially from the spillages and all of those. But because one man has been settled, it looks like everywhere is calmer than it used to be.
Can I tell you something? Anybody who comes out today to say he's a political activist or environmental activist, I believe the person with a pinch of salt. You know why? Because I have seen that there's a culture in Nigeria where you use activism to launch yourself to the head of the government. And once you're given contract or once you're given an appointment, everything changes.
But I know someone who resigned an appointment because according to him, it wasn't working the way he envisaged.
Yeah, I talking about the women issue?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe by the time another thing comes his way, you know, the thing is that there's something about governance which I have come to see. You know, sometimes you could be outside there and you are doing your activism. When the right offer comes and clicks to what you believe in, everything dies down. I've seen lots of that.
Interesting. Okay, federal government pegs quarterly imprests for ministers, at 700,000, PS and DGs at 500,000, 25-day power outage looms as TCN begins maintenance. Why Tinubu will win re-election in 2027? That's from Fireshare.
Okay, so I am. Yesterday, I saw conversations on a WhatsApp group where people were talking about the TCN notice to people in Lagos that there's going to be blackout, and the person was asking for what reason. For 4 days now, I had been in blackout, and you're telling me that we are going to have an outage. So what explains that? Then we now move over to the Guardian newspaper. We have the banner headline that says refineries Ajaokuta Steel fail revival effort despite 6.5 trillion naira spent in 10 years. That's on page 6. You know, imagine when you have this very humongous amount of money spent on reviving whatever project, at the end of the day, you get no result. You can also see the headline there, NNPC refinery tan and dirt. And then we have another headline that says ADC demands audit of Tinubu's 200 trillion naira debt trajectory, slams fiscal record. That's on page 3. Seek permission to appoint aides. Supervisor Sonwolu tells new LG chairman. That's on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. 2023 poll. Court dismisses INEC's prayer against prosecuting electoral offenders. That's on page 15 of the Guardian newspaper. 2026, Atiku vows to deliver Ekiti governorship to ADC. On page 7. Will Nigeria harness or squander its youth dividends? That's on page 12. It's an editorial on the Guardian newspaper. International Day. Nigeria's hepatitis war falters amid low testing, high treatment costs, ignorance. That's on page 6. Falana condemns renaming of Lagos Street. That's on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. 5 died, 55 injured as flood ravages Adamawa settlement. Is on page 30. And also yesterday, we saw the confirmation by Niger State Emergency Management Agency that the boat mishap that happened in Niger State on Saturday, that no less than 12 people died in that. And that added to the list of recent incidents we had in that very state. And then another story we have on the Guardian says NMA suspends planned strike, gives FG Fresh to 1 day ultimatum. Is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. And the last headline says court nullifies NYC skirt ban, declares decision unconstitutional, breach of rights. That's on page 30. This very story, I saw it yesterday, but from when I got to read it, I found out that judgment was delivered even in June, and they are saying that you cannot ban, core members who prefer to wear skirts because of their religious belief. If you're going to do that, it amounts to the breach of their constitutional rights, which is protected in the 1999 Constitution. So these are the headlines.
And we are going to dive right into the main, some of the main topics actually, because like you said earlier, Franklin, a lot happened over the weekend, and one of the most important ones being reactions that have trailed Yilwata's emergence as new APC national chairman, especially considering his background in INEC. But before we proceed, I'd like to point out that today is the 65th birthday of the Anambra State Governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo. And so it's wishing him a very happy birthday. And of course, yesterday I had the chance to take a look at that place called Solution Fund City, and I'll tell you one thing for a fact. I mean, forgive me being what I call it from a background of accountants, but frankly, all I kept doing yesterday was a mental calculation of how much revenue Anambra State government is raking in now. And you know when they tell you that a lot of projects cannot be carried out in states because they don't have enough revenue. We talk about how most governors are not creative. What I saw there yesterday was massive creativity. Massive creativity is an understatement, because what he actually just did there is a gold meal for Anambra State government. Not just this one, but governments to come in the future. And I personally do hope that, we don't lose guard, for the want of a better word, or maintenance, because one of the reasons why we have a lot of facilities like that going down the drain is because of poor maintenance culture. But if we maintain that place very well, trust me, Anambra State has a very beautiful future ahead with facilities like that, and hopefully more to come in the future.
One thing is this, because why you are saying this, Chisom, is because you went there. If you had not gone there and possibly said the facts you met on ground, some people out there we now start saying Chisom is like Chisom Abulugo Kwanyapaka. It's like Chisom has become a member of Soludo government. People, one thing about them is whenever you spill the fact, they try to sentimentalize it. That is a problem we have in this very climate. People have forgotten that facts are sacred. There's no way you're going to talk about fact without that fact aligning with people, individual or political party. But your concern is not about those facts are aligned with. Your concern is about saying things the way they are. Last week, Saturday, we had on Crossfire Professor Ebuka Ononkwo, who is the special advisor to Governor Soludo on special project, and he challenged all of us. And what was the challenge? Look anywhere in Nigeria and mention one place, you will see a place like Solution Fund City. It was a big challenge. Now, facts against facts, facts versus facts. That's what he asked. And then he said in Nigeria, and he made mention of, there is no place you have amusement park and water park together. That is just only in Anambra State, in Oka. He says there are places where you go, you have amusement park alone. And there are places you go, you have water park alone. And he said, you can never find any place in Nigeria where you have boats together.
The same facility.
That is what he said. And he challenged all of us. It's not about saying, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And he went on to tell us that even before that place was built, that place was a swampy area, that they had a lot engineering works which they did. And he said that sometimes a facility like that takes state governments 3 to 4 to 5 years to accomplish. But here they did this one under the space of 2 years. So he was trying to blow the trumpet of this present administration, but he ruled out some facts. He challenged all of us and asked us to go and find out. If you have seen this, you come back. And when we talk about tourism, and then he did mention that here is one of these areas that will always bring people around the world, around the globe. That if you go to South Africa, there is a place of such nature, and you see the kind of tourism traffic it generates. And you are talking about, you are making a mental calculation how much the government would make from this. Probably you were there yesterday. You maybe you have to tell us, we are people there. You have to answer, because we are people. Yes.
It was a crowd.
Oh, there was a crowd. And then,
yes, I'd also like to point out a couple of things.
Okay.
While the parking space is really commendable, like it's massive, it's commendable. But I noticed that at the gate, the security didn't give passes. You know how you come to enter a facility and you're given like a pass. You don't move this vehicle without this pass out of these premises. It wasn't present, and I feel it's a security is a loophole in the security, right? One, and I also feel like a place like that has peak days. Yesterday, people, as a matter of fact, there were revenue leakages. You know why? Some people couldn't wait in line. They left, right? So I felt like there was a shortage of staff, especially for a day like yesterday. I was telling someone, I think what they need to do is to have maybe weekend contract staff, since weekend is the peak period. People who've been there on weekdays say it's not as, as crowded as it was yesterday. Yesterday it was a crowd. Like, people were literally
how much did you pay?
For the gate pass, it was 2,000.
And you paid 2,000?
Yes.
For the gate pass?
Yes, walk around. But if you want to use any of the facilities,
you pay. You can imagine how much that would generate from the crowd you mentioned.
Exactly the point. That's what I'm saying.
You can imagine. And when you say sometimes some state governments need to think outside the box to bring in revenue for the state, a thing like this, you see how an Egyptian who is ranked among the first 100 people in the world that manages amusement parks and water parks, he's the one managing this very place.
Yeah, I actually saw him yesterday, and I like the fact that he was on ground himself. He was outside doing his job. He wasn't in some office as the boss.
No.
He wore his tag. Yes.
Farag
it had
Muhammad.
His name, and he was on ground.
Farag Muhammad.
He was supervising things, even communicating with some of the staff of the facility and all of that.
And you get so many people of Anambra employed there. But that's by the way. Let me also salute Professor Chukwuma Soludo at 65. At 65, for me, Chukwuma Soludo stands as a paragon of intellectual profundity and administrative ingenuity, and also patriotic tenacity. In fact, his journey is not merely the passage of time, but unfolding of a remarkable odyssey, edged with distinction, discipline, and unrelenting devotion to the collective upliftment of society. From the sanctums of academia to the corridors of global economic diplomacy, and now to the hem of Anambra's renaissance, Soludo has remained a cerebral colossus, an erudite economist whose ideas transcend the ephemeral and speak enduring truths to the police and posterity. His lives and work continue to illuminate the path for generation that takes for credible visionary leadership rooted in both principle and purpose. We say happy 65 years to Mr. Governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, CFR. He was one of those born in 1960 when Nigeria got independence, but he was born before the independence because we had our independence on the 1st of October 1960, but he was born on 28th of July 1960. So we await quite a lot coming from you, and then Anambra State is indeed proud and glad to have you as their governor and also their true son. That's my tribute for Governor Soludo at 65.
Okay, so let's go over to what happened on Saturday, because Saturday was an endorsement rally which was held at Alex Ekweme Square, organized by Anambra Central, where they said they are adopting, or not adopting, that Soludo remains their only candidate for the Anambra Gubernatorial election. And we saw the likes of Chief Okemaro, he was there, he spoke. We saw the likes of Oyendozi Dozenwankwo, he spoke. Likewise, a couple of other persons who spoke during that very event. Then the Deputy Speaker of Anambra State House Assembly was the one who read the communique on behalf of Anambra Central, saying that this is where we stand. And I saw a list of all the appointees of the governor who hail from Idemili North. They were all there, the list and what have you not. But lots of things happened. So when it was time for the governor to speak, and he made the emphasis about that he has nobody. Okay, he has no challenger. He said those who are going around are raising funds for their businesses, and that's actually elicited reactions. And he also said that he has to abide by the zoning principles we have in Anambra State, that if Anambra Central gives him that very support, of course, by the time he has completed his second term, as provided by the Constitution, of course, he's going to hand over to somebody from Anambra Central. And that reinforced that very mantra, 4 is better than 8. So let's even start from there. That he has no challenger. Is that true, that he has no challenger in this very contest?
That's a political statement. and you expect politicians to make such statement. It is a political statement. When he says he has no challenger for him, he has looked around and then he sees no one challenging him or no one taking him away from that very office. But then we know that from INEC list, you have got people there, and those people, about 16 of them, they are all challengers. But I have always classified them as pretenders and also as contenders. So he has made his own statement saying that he has no challenger, but we are saying from INEC list, he has those who are also vying for the same position, and so they are contenders, even when we know very well there are those who are pretenders. And when you say that there are those who may be raising money for their business, we've seen proofs of things like this. There are times you'll find out that someone who has no chance of becoming the governor or winning even the major election or the major context will be in the race. He is not in the race to win. He's in the race for some other reasons. And one of the reasons could be to raise money. Once you are contexting, people will donate money for you, friends will come, associates, and when you meet people and ask for their donation, they will see that you are a candidate. The first question is, are you a candidate to this cause? Once you are a candidate, you will see people donating money for you. And we've seen people raise money through such system, and possibly maybe the governor was referring to those who had in the past made money and those who may be doing it at this point. We know very well that there are quite a lot of factors that determines who becomes the governor of Anambra State. And one thing, most times if you say these things here, it might not really sound palatable for those who may not agree with you, but for those who are entrenched in the truth, we say, oh, even though that this sounds more like a partisan, but that's the truth. And I've always said it here many times that there are a lot of factors. And one of the factors that will determine this election will be the performance of the incumbent governor. And this will be the most defining factor. If the people think he has done well, he has performed well, they will see no need of not allowing the continuity. So in the area of infrastructure, youth empowerment, probably free maternal health, education reforms, urban renewal project, and so many things. And then another thing will be the issue of the party in Anambra State. There are people, a majority of people see ABGA as a cultural party to the people of Anambra. A cultural, not just a political party, not just a movement, a cultural, something that they have over the years identified with. We've seen so many people who had been in PDP, for them to become governor in Anambra State, they have to come into ABGA. We saw that when Professor Soludo contested under PDP in 2010 or thereabouts. He came into ABGA and he was able to become the governor. And we saw Osita Chiroka, who made endorsement, and I listened to what many people have said about his endorsement. In the case of Soludo during the time of Willoughby, if it is not broken, why mend it? That was his cliche, and it went viral. It became more like a state anthem in Anambra State. Now, in the works of the Ikobosi Shiroka Osita, he did say, I want my son to be like Governor Soludo. That was the statement he made, amongst other statements he made during that very endorsement rally. And people are beginning to peddle that probably there is a succession arrangement he has with Soludo. So the issue of party, ABGA being a cultural party, it will face a cultural and emotional resistance, especially among the grassroots. But you also talk about the issue of zoning. And we have seen this zoning. I think Soludo was saying it that P2B started it. But there had been some backlashes that when P2B started it, but you contested against the zoning. Remember, P2B introduced the zoning when he was to finish his term, not when he was going for second term. I guess Soludo contested against it when he was going for second term, not when he finished his term. It was when P2B finished his term that introduced zoning and then declared that the power will go to the North. That if such is not done, the North may not have the propensity to get to Agwaka, and now we call it the lighthouse. So the need for every other zone to back the North. And when it comes to issues of voter participation, the North has always come short. They cannot do it on their own, and that was how Willie Obiano emerged after different consultation, and we saw how he emerged. Obaze would have been the man to be preferred, but we saw how politics had its way. But in all of that, issue of zoning will be another point. There are many candidates from the South who are saying they will go for one term, and there are people who are saying, do you believe politicians? And one of the candidates has also said he has sworn an affidavit. He deposed that affidavit in court that anybody can sue him. And there's another question from people who believe that, can a governor who has immunity be sued? Can an affidavit override a constitutional provision? These are questions saying that when you just oppose affidavit, you have sworn that you will go for just a single term, and constitutional provision that says you have 2 terms. You can go for 2 terms. So which one comes first? That is another big question.
Okay, sorry. Let me come in so that we'll be able to manage this very time. Right, because you mentioned Chidoka, which I'm going to ask a question regarding his status, whether he's a member of ABGA now or not. Because we know that at a point in time he resigned his membership of the PDP, and since then he hasn't made any declaration of where he belongs to. But we have seen him at various ABGA functions. Don't forget that when Mr. Governor went to the US to meet Nigerians, okay, we saw his younger brother there, and people were asking, why is he on the podium? Why is he on the rostrum? And so many questions were raised. And that's number one. The number two is the issue of the statement he made. That he said, if the soup is sweet, why drop the spoon? Okay, why drop the spoon? Just to re-echo what Soludo said when it was the time for Obiano for him to contest for second time. So number one question is Chidoka a member of ABGA now, that we now do see him at every ABGA function? That's number one. The issue of Anambra North. Somebody told me that Anambra North is like a replica of what the North has in terms of brotherhood. They are saying that once any of them is involved in anything and they have love for that very person, that they cannot leave their own to go and support another person. I'm saying this because there was also an endorsement rally which was held in Anambra North in honor of the governor of Anambra State. That was, I think, about 2 weeks ago or thereabout. And during that very rally, they said Anambra North is also endorsing Soludo to go for second term. Then on that's over the weekend, we also saw another crowd that attended an event in Okpo, which was organized by the APC governorship candidate. And since then, people have been comparing, saying the kind of crowd we saw at Ekwembe Square, the kind of crowd we saw at Okpo, are these the main contenders?
Just like I have always said, you have just 3 political parties who are in for this election. And why I say 3, you have to really be fair to the statistics we've garnered and their contenders, and then the rest that are just pretenders. But as, by the way, if you want me to name them, I'm not going to name them. But when the time comes, we are going to name them. And you did talk about issue of Osita Chidoka and the brother. And the last he was here, I asked him a question: where is your brother? He told me that the brother is now based in United States of America. So the brother is now among the Indian Anambra in diaspora. So for the fact you saw him when the governor went there to speak to those people about his governmental agenda and then his achievements and things he's doing, and also asked for their input and their own investment in developing Anambra State. Probably he is there among the Anambra in diaspora. That is one. And then whether he's a member of ABGA, the last I checked, Osita Chidoka Ikobos is not a member of ABGA. He is not a member of any political party. He resigned from PDP without making any further movement to any political party, but he says he can support anybody he wants to support. He doesn't need to be in a political party to support any candidate he wishes to support. Now he has chosen to support Professor Charles Soludo CFR based on the shared vision, according to him, and some other things he has said. And then you talk about the endorsement rally. The Anambra North, the last we checked, I think about 3 to 4 weeks ago, there was a endorsement rally at Otuacha where they came out to endorse the candidate of ABGA, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo. And we saw the Anambra Central replicating the same. That was on Saturday at Dr. Alex Ekweme Square. You now talked about the mammoth crowd, and you also had the homecoming of APC candidate Prince Nicholas Okachuku. Remember, Newi South is his local government, and is the capital of Nnewi South, and that was the choice of that very venue. There was a homecoming, and we saw how the people of that area received him, and we looked around and saw the crowd you mentioned. So you now talked about the issue of contenders. That will give you the mental calculation. But it's getting interesting. There's no doubt. If you ask me, everything is getting interesting. But just like I said, there are factors that will define these contexts, and I have mentioned about 3 of them. Maybe with time I'm going to give more because we have to manage time now. But I have mentioned 3, and one has to do with the performance of the incumbent, that is the person who is there now, and also mentioned the issue of ABGA being a cultural party in Anambra State. The emotion people have for the party is another thing that you must contend with, because if you ask all these contenders, all of them, if you put all these parties and ask them, choose one party you want to contest with, they will choose ABGA. If Ukachukwu had his way, he would have been the candidate of ABGA.
You mean them being on the platform of ABGA?
That's what I'm saying. Now, remember when there was, remember, I had it from the grapevine that period, ABGA was having issue with Edozie Njoku. We are told that one of the candidates was sponsoring that feud in a way that if Njoku wins, he may become the candidate of the party. So you can imagine why he was sponsoring. I'm not going to mention the name of the person. He knows himself. He was sponsoring the feud, trying to use Njoku to ensure that Soludo gets out of the way so that he becomes the candidate of the party. But Supreme Court had its own toll on the whole thing, and where the Supreme Court said we never at any point declared Njoku as the national chairman of the party.
So Tony, if we assume, because I'm going to choose my words carefully, okay, if we assume that ABGA, for what happened on Saturday, now has a leeway in Anambra Central. We know in Anambra Central, of course, you talk about Bogvo, talk about Demlin North, and it seems where they have Digo for Bosi on the side of the government. You have Osachido on the side of government, and some other person. You have Ifeanyi Bezi, also now in ABGA, of course. So it could be assumed that ABGA can scratch the vote in this very area. Now, for Anambra North, which I asked, Anambra North has one of their sons in the contest talking about Paul Chokoma. And like what I told you, I have had interactions with people from Anambra North, and they'll tell me that they have this brotherly affiliation, especially those who are from Mambala. That if one Mambala is involved with anything, they don't usually forsake that very person. So can we also assume that Anambra North is aligned?
For me, I don't want to just say things I would want to keep for time, but that very issue you mentioned, that Anambra North, remember what the rally, we saw the rally. If the candidate of the North, Paul Chukuma, if he pulled a crowd, ABGA candidate pulled at Otuasha, probably will be talking this way. So, but that's by the way, but some people will tell some of this crowd are rented. They may not be genuine. But the key thing is the party in power has the local grassroots base in the North. All the local government chairmen, they are from ABGA, right? And then you look at the ward presence of the party. And sometimes I will advise some of these parties. I was discussing that with you before we came in here. I will advise some of these parties who have candidates. You can't think of winning election if you don't have a ward presence. So many of them, their parties don't have ward meetings. They don't have ward meetings. They don't even come together to discuss about how they are going to implement this. Would it be a case whereby we have over 5,000? The last I checked, I don't know if it has gone up anyway, but then probably I'm looking at the polling units we have in Anambra State. From last I checked, we have over 5,000 plus polling units. And there are people that may not have agents that will cover these polling units, and they're in the contest. When you don't have ward meetings, your political party, I bet you, I beg to ask which of these political parties that their party do have ward meetings. They meet regularly. I think it's just, for me, one or two. Just one or two. And they are in the context. It's about protecting your vote as well. If you think you are popular, if you think you can win, what about protecting your vote? We know how vulnerable our electoral landscape is. So the point remains, Paul Chukwuma is a nice person. He's a very young man. I think the last I checked, he is 49 years. So he has age on his own side, and definitely he will make a good leader, but the timing may not be now. Based on the start on ground, I'm not ruling him out, but I'm just being factual as an analyst. So, and you also check the party. So, here in Anambra State, I have said that if you go to Enugu State, do you know why Enugu State survived the tsunami that happened in 2023? Labour Party could have swept Enugu State during the gubernatorial context. Enugu seems to be a culturally aligned PDP state. Culturally aligned PDP state. Nearly to have swept it. Based on the earthquake, what happened in Abia State, or what happened in the case of Abia State, there have been resentment over the time. It is just an implosion waiting for time, and he exploded. So the point I'm making is very simple. Here in Anambra State, Abia is a cultural party here, and it's always difficult to uproot a party that people have identified as their identity, that have used as a cultural identity. So, but nothing is cast on stone. Nothing is cast on stone, but it's going to be very difficult. So I've reeled out some of these factors. We are now talking about the candidates, and we also remember the role of religion is a factor. The role of religion, denomination is a factor. No matter how you try to downplay it, you cannot sweep it under the carpet. We can't pretend that it's not true. Sometimes some people will tell you, why would that be? But it's not right. We are not saying whether it is right or it's not right. What we are saying is that it is real. There is difference between when something is right or wrong and being real. Real is that it does exist. Now, the question of whether it is right or wrong is now based on your own perspective. But does it exist at all? The answer is it does exist. So if you look around all these issues, and then I saw Ngige in that rally. I don't know. He has also, because he's from Central, shown his weight. And if you look at the key political stakeholders in the Central, I don't know why many of them, for the first time, it seems they are coming together to endorse one man. For the first time. I can't remember the last we saw likes of Okemwaron, Ngige, and Iko Bosi, and so many of them. But we know that you also have another stakeholder far from the Central, Senator Victume, who we saw has also aligned with the candidate of Labour. So we look at this unfolding drama. But I have mentioned some of the determining factors. But performance being one of the factors, issue of zoning being another factor, then the issue of denomination being another factor, and ABGA being a cultural party being a factor. The argument is, why would that be? The question is, does it exist? Is it real? Are these facts? So I think these are factors that will define some of these things. Just like I said earlier on, if you throw these parties across to candidates and ask them to scramble, all of them will go for one party. If you ask them on their own, choose the party you want to contest on their platform on your own, all of them. Because you know why? Okay. Because that party they will want to choose, it seems to be the cultural party the people have aligned with.
Right, we take a break at this point, attend to some commercials. When we come back, we'll go over to see what's up with the APC, especially since the emergence of your Water as the new national chairman. Do stay.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Good news and welcome to Winners Global Estate, Heaven in Ogwashuku, Aniocha Local Government Area, Asaba, Delta State. Home sweet home.
Ladies and gentlemen, mamas and papas, Winners Global Estate is here with their special promo package for real winners. Don't miss out in this laudable promo 2025, Heaven on Earth.
Buy, build, live, work, and enjoy. Unlock your dream home of reality. Winners Global Estate is selling fast. 3.5 million, 50 by 100. No more 7 million. Promo price. For booking and more information, please call
081 64 40 4098 or 080 37 44 3787. Winners Global Estate. Your security is assured.
Winners and Winners Global Estate. Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, I'll pack it and they do yellow. Wendy's bread, mama, papa, they like Wendy's bread, not kitchen and do. Wendy's bread, even children, they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, you get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your bachama. Wendy's bread, the champion.
Wendy's bread, your tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Future Diamond Real Estate, where your dreamland becomes reality. With no youth disturbances, no hidden charges, and instant allocation upon payment. Deed of assignment is guaranteed, and site inspection is absolutely free. Wageziege, I want an anabedi chiche, I want an angopala, one an enubu, one an agidia hipotas, one an ibusa, one an ihiala, one an ambidi, imankeka chanki. I knew where our estates offering Kaiboro, Udala Estate in Kedinoka, Nkedina Ndukwenu, one them try to acquire land with our 6 months or 1 year installment plan. Nkanwa is specially designed for low income earners with no extra charges. Also, we're introducing the Rescue Widows Program. Deserving widows have plots in all our estates. And I know the one Nteje, Oba, Asaba, Neben, Jozo, Di Chiche. Nakaju ni Hendozo, Banyana Karequentia, 070-770-89316, mobile 080-343-76607. Because we can be Sulorani, Nkeden of 32B New Market Road, opposite St. John the Baptist Catholic Church, or Dabo Onitsha, 3rd floor, City Mats Plaza.
Summer coding camp. Mama Chisom, how do you manage your kids during these long vacations? I am already tired of Mesoma and Chidio. These kids are really after my life. I can't even rest again.
I used to feel the same way too, until a woman leader introduced me to Edufon Technique Coding Camp last year. It changed everything for me. Mommy, I just coded my first Crash game. Come and play with me.
At 84 Technique STEM Summer Coding Camp, your kids will learn the following: coding with Scratch, robotics, computer appreciation, piano lessons, storytelling with AI, science experiments, and so much more. All in a fun, engaging environment, hands-on. To register, visit us at number 6 Ridge Road, GRA, opposite EEDC, Onitsha, or call 070-616-33338. Hurry now, spots are limited. Edufon Technique STEM Hub, where fun meets innovation.
Edufon Technique STEM Summer Coding Camp.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
A city of movement. A city of trade. A city of heritage. From the rays of the sun to the radiant glow of the river Nile. From the echoes of Ose Market to the silent prayers rising from the basilica. This city beats like a drum, loud, proud, and unyielding. And the drum finds its rhythm right here on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic. You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Absolutely, still the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. And of course, we are still making sensitive happenings in and around Nigeria. We are moving over to some more political matters now. Over to the All Progressives Congress, where we understand that the party has come out to defend Yelwada amid fierce opposition over his ties with INEC. The emergence of the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Professor Nentawe Yelwada, as the new national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, is not sitting well with some Nigerians, particularly members of the opposition. Yelwada's previous role as a resident electoral commissioner with the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) is viewed by the opposition as a strategic move by President Bola Tinubu to compromise the commission's independence ahead of the 2027 general elections. So, Tony, Yelwada resigned as INEC rec for Benue State in 2022. I think he joined the commission in 2017 and left in 2022. And 3 years later, he's now APC's national chairman. I've been trying to find the correlation between Yelwada bringing about some possible compromise in 2027. I guess you should start by helping us with that.
I think I don't know why people are making fuse out of nothing. Has APC broken any law in making Yelwada the national chairman? The answer is no. So there is no law that says that if you had worked in INEC that you cannot run for any election. He was a candidate of APC for Benue gubernatorial election in 2023.
Is it Benue?
Plateau State. He was a candidate of APC. And where he squared himself with Caleb Muftwang, who narrowly won that context. And he was an anointed political son of Governor Simon Lalong. Lalong anointed him for his technical sagacity. And just like we have mentioned many times here, INEC is not the only place he worked at. He worked at Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi, where he was the director of the ICT unit for 12 good years. I think he did everything virtually there. He was appointed professor there at that very university. I don't know why people are saying, why would Yelwada become the APC national chairman having worked at INEC? He should. If he had such experience, why didn't he use that experience to make himself the governor? Let's begin there. He resigned in 2022 when he was assigned the rec for Benue State. He was resident electoral commissioner of INEC to Benue State, and he resigned. He knew the internal workings of INEC, but he could not use that to make himself governor, where PDP came and defeated the incumbent. Simon Lalong was incumbent at that time. So let's be real. Sometimes some of these things are neither here nor there. We are just making statements. I think for people to, or for any opposition party to be scared of Yelwada, it means that he has got so much to offer. That's what it means. So he hasn't broken any law. The party hasn't broken any law. It's not like our judicial system, where after becoming a judge, you can never be a lawyer. You can never practice as a lawyer. It's in their code. So once you are appointed as a judge, no need, you can't practice law again. You can't just go back and then be a lawyer. It is in their code. So in the case of INEC, once you are an INEC electoral commissioner or national commissioner or whatever role, you can still contest, you can still run for election, you can still go for higher political positions. So let's understand the facts.
Okay, so people who have concerns, their concerns are coming from the fact that they understand the kind of political system we operate. And it's good that you began this analysis from the point of talking about the known to the unknown, because you talked about the election which he contested in 2023 to become the governor of Plateau State, which eventually he didn't win. We know that eventually it was Caleb moved from PDP who won that election after securing 522,299 votes. But Yelwada came second with 481,330 votes. So you can see that there was like a difference of 60,310 votes between the two of them. So you've been able to establish that he wasn't able to use his supposed influence to influence the outcome of that very election. Now, let's now go to the unknown. The unknown is the fact that, okay, he had served as INEC rec. He served for 4 years, and during this very time, he had experiences in about 4 states where he served in different elections. And now we have a president who we know as the master of all chess, who we know that understand the political system and who knows how to use resources available to him to get what he wants. Now the fear is that since he had a tie, since he had a tie with INEC, their fear is that the fact that Mr. President is also going to appoint a new INEC chairman, that there could be element of suspicion in what could possibly happen. Because for now, it's all about people who are guessing and thinking of what could possibly happen. So, are you saying that their fears are not built on anything?
For those who are having fears, you can't rule it out. They are entitled to their fears. They can also have their fears remain their fears. If Mr. President had appointed Yowanda as the INEC chairman to succeed Mahmoud Yakubu, now that's where people will begin to talk. Because there is a guideline for such an appointment. Somebody who hasn't, for any reason, be a member of any political party, hasn't joined any political party, somebody who is not partisan, who has a credible character, quality character. So there is a guideline for who becomes the next chairman. You must not have meddled with any political party or work for any body or work under any political party. So Mr. President could not appoint Yowanda as INEC chairman even when the time for Mahmoud Yakubu time is up. So there is a guideline to that. Now, for those who are having the fear, Mr. President being the master strategist, being this, being that this can happen, that can happen. Yes, there may be a reason. There may be some true reason in what they are suspecting. After all, the law says Mr. President would appoint, and that's one of the things we have been clamoring for, that the issue of appointing who becomes the INEC chairman should be stripped from anybody who is the president, not necessarily because today the person is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You cannot appoint a referee that will referee your match. Who does it? Nigeria, I believe, is the only country that does that. That appoints a referee, where the president appoints a referee that will referee his match. So that's by the way. Now, on the issue of Yowanda, yes, his experience at INEC is a plus for him to manage the party. It's a plus for him. Remember the role of a political party. They have a specific role. They cannot perform the role of INEC. Yes, he may have influence. He has worked in INEC, but there are those who have worked with him. But just like I said earlier on, he couldn't use that influence to make himself governor. And remember, some of the people that may have worked with him or under him, I don't know if they are still there or some of them have retired, but there could be reason. His experience at INEC could be one of the reasons Mr. President nominated him as the national chairman of APC. But that's not the sole reason. He's also from North Central. They wanted to balance power equation, which I explained very well on Friday. Then the issue of religion, they also want to balance religion. So he tick all the boxes. Religion, he has it. In balancing it. Region, he has it. In balancing it. Experience, he has it. In balancing it. And at the same time, a younger person that will bridge the gap between the older generation and the younger generation. He ticks that box. So he ticks a lot of boxes. Not just somebody who probably will tick one or two boxes without ticking other boxes. So for APC and for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they feel that Yowanda ticks many boxes. In fact, all the boxes they kept that for somebody who will be there, he ticks so many of them. And that's why he's there.
Okay, so let's talk about that requirement that people who serve in INEC should be non-partisan, they should be neutral. Because I'm still talking about this.
Serve or served.
People who serve should be neutral. But the reference now is still Yowanda. Yowanda, who he served as a rec in Plateau State, or rather in Benue State, between 2017 to 2021. Because he left in 2021, then in 2022 he contested primary of the APC in Plateau State. Correct. And in 2023, March precisely, he contested for the governorship in Plateau State. Now, the law requires that as a rec, you are supposed to be non-partisan. You're supposed to be neutral. But how can we connect that somebody who was neutral, who was non-partisan, resigned in 2021, and in 2022 he was able to muster the influence to win the governorship primary of APC in Plateau State?
He had a godfather, didn't he?
You have answered the question. He was anointed. by
so,
Lalong.
So is it possible that he could be anointed if he was not hobnobbing with politics?
I think somebody must have recommended him to that INEC position. Some of these INEC commissioners you see, do you think politicians do not recommend them? We saw the cousin to Nyesom Wike, who was the resident electoral commissioner for Edo State election, where Wike had an interest. Wike had an interest, and his cousin was.
So what you're trying to say now, Tony, forgive me for butting in there, is that give or take, these rules are not being abided by. Give or take, everything revolves around the politicians. Is that what you're trying to say?
The point I'm trying to make is that we created this lacuna. No matter, look at the rule. Once you're a rec, if you're a resident electoral commissioner or you're a national commissioner at INEC, you must be neutral, you must be non-partisan, you must have been seen to be as well. Now, that rule I'm saying is weak. Who recommends them? Politicians. And when politicians recommend them, they may be loyal to somebody who makes that recommendation. So that rule, being neutral, being non-partisan, is flimsy.
Especially when they have to be nominated by politicians.
Unless you take away the issue of appointment from politician. If you take away the issue of appointment from politician, that rule becomes strong.
Flesh. She has some flesh.
So now it is totally something that has no material. It's totally immaterial. That rule is just weak. There is what we call in physics scalar and vector quantity. And when you talk about a scalar quantity, these are those that have a magnitude and then a direction. The other one has magnitude but no direction. But this one, no magnitude, no direction, in the sense that it is a weak rule. One, we must find a way to take away the issue of appointment. Mr. President appoints national commissioners, right? Resident electoral commissioners, and most appointments at the same time appoint the INEC chairman. And then in such appointment, the rule says the person must be seen to not to be partisan, neutral. Even if the person was, immediately he becomes appointed. Don't you think that there is this natural tendency to be loyal to somebody who made you who you are? So, going back to the man we are talking about, you wonder, yes, somebody recommended him. You don't just become INEC rec just like that. It was through recommendation. And how it came about could also be that it came through that Lalong angle. And then Lalong at the point felt that this man will best suit to protect whatever have achieved in Plateau State. And then he called him back from INEC. He was serving. He resigned. He was still serving. He resigned his appointment to join the murky waters of politics and pick a nomination form and became an APC member.
Yeah,
so that's what happened.
Let's look at also other things. We do not have so much time, but I was also willing to take a swipe at what he did as the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Tony. So you think that while he served in that ministry, he made it stay there worth it?
Remember, that very ministry had a problem before he was drafted in. And immediately came in there. What did he do? He tried to get up with a database. If you're having a humanitarian crisis, vulnerable people with this or without this, you must have data you work with. So the first he did was to go into feasibility studies, field study, to get his data that he would work with. The data helps you to plan. Data helps you to process. Data made you to more like to strategize. Data does a lot of things, even for development. We don't even know. We can't sit down here and exhaust what data do. So that is the point. I think that's the major thing he got into. And then he showed prudence. The former minister had turbulence time, issue of scandals, corruption, diversion of funds made for people in the internally displaced camps, and quite a lot. So while he was there, he was able to steady the tide, and also he was able to also show cause that people can as well trust that ministry. Many lost faith in the ministry, believing it is just a ministry that could be used to siphon money, to divert this, to divert that. After all, things that you will say that they are meant for the vulnerables don't get to them. Who gets them? And these things are being packed for election period, or campaign period. So he was able to live out. And I have been waiting for journalists to say why he was there. Look at what he did. He diverted. Nobody has said anything on that. Nobody has said anything negative or blemish of Wanda. Nobody. So even when the torchlight was beaming so much, nobody has said anything. So that tells you that he left there with a clean record. That's what that tells you.
Okay, over the weekend, a former Lagos State lawmaker by name Emeka Idimogo, that's the name, said something to Mr. Peter B. He said, drop your 2027 ambition and support Tinubu's re-election. Also in Lagos State over the weekend, some streets were renamed. I saw a video this morning that a DJ and an MC were contracted to stay at the Charlie Boy, would I call it a street that has been renamed, which is also one of the major points of controversy for that renaming that happened, regardless of the fact that the likes of Falana have come out to say that was quite illegal. But I'm trying to join all matters coming from Lagos State and, of course, anything related to Lagos State now together. And so that renaming has brought about some controversies, and I'd like to know what you think about the controversies and the statement coming from that former Lagos State lawmaker. What do you make of it?
I think you asked me, the lawmaker in question probably had told the line of our own brother.
Isiguzoro.
No, I'm not talking about Isiguzoro. I'm talking about our brother that was giving a post, I think, special assistant to Governor Sanwo-Olu on drainage and then gutter cleaning. You know the person I'm talking about.
Why would you stress the appointment given to him?
No, but that's what he got. After all the tongues he worked against Igbos living in Lagos, trying to be more Yoruba than a typical Yoruba man. At the end of the day, what was he giving to? So that was appointment given to him. So that is by the way. So Ijumogo fall in that category. For me, I don't even know him. He's a nobody. So he can go on to do whatever his paid masters have told him to do.
But then he made some points that some persons have considered quite salient.
All right, what are those points?
That belief that the South might just be divided, the votes from the South might be divided if two Southerners are contesting in that election.
I think it's his own imagination. This is politics. Politics is a game of number. So if the Southern votes are divided, who would he favor? There are those in the South that would even prefer Atiku to be the president. So it's not a North-South thing now. It's a game of interest, a game of number. So he is making those statements based on where his interest lies. So he can ask P2B to drop his ambition, though he has right to his opinion. So for me, just like I said earlier on, he is a political nobody. And he's somebody that we shouldn't be taking much of a time to even listen to. So let's face the fact. P2B has got followers. There is no doubt. No doubt. And we saw what happened in 2023 general election, where he came close, where a lot of people wrote him off. In fact, people like this deputy leader of Ndibo. I don't know, the Ndibo is their deputy leader in Lagos. Maybe Ndibo in APC in Lagos. I think that's the deputy leader of Ndibo APC. I don't think there is any of such thing. APC does not do anything tribe. There is no such position. You can have a deputy leader of Ndibo in APC. There is nothing like such position. So that position in the first instance is his own personal imagination. So for him, Jude Emeka Idumog, I wonder, for me, just like we have mentioned, he's a former member of the Lagos State House of Assembly, where he represented Ochodi, Isolo, 2 constituency. And that's all he had.
Yeah, for 2 tenures, actually.
For how many tenures? I don't know. But even if he served there for 2 tenures, I know.
You don't see any truth in what he's saying, in that dichotomy of votes.
It's just like
balkanized.
It's just like somebody here from Yoruba origin saying to Tinubu, drop your ambition, or telling Atiku, drop your ambition. So allow these people to go there and text their popularity.
All right.
So why he's doing this? He's doing this so that he will be given a position. Now he has no position.
The street naming controversy, Tony.
If you talk about street naming controversy, I've listened to Falalon where he made a kind of a revealing statement. It tells you quite how divided this country is. When we say that this country is divided along ethnic and tribal lines, and that underscores it. I must state here that such renaming is ill-intended. You can imagine a street like Imweze Street being renamed Leyiwola Oluwa. A street like Uzo Street being renamed Kalejayi Adeboye. A street like Emode being renamed Ayola Fatai. A street like Ben Onyeka Street being renamed Mukaila Kolowale. A street like Ebubedike Street being renamed Adeyemi Samuel. And a street like Eze Street being renamed Mojisola Arogunde. So you look at these things, you will say that it tells a lot. But I can go on. But if you look around, I think it was in the late 2024 and 2025 that Jeremy, if Lodun local government area, issued that directive revoking 24 street names, many of which were originally Igbo names, and replacing them with predominantly Yoruba cultural or political figures. And remember, before these streets were named after these Igbo people, they were paying some ground. They contributed to the development of that very area, to that very street. They had the right of occupancy and so many things. They built these places. All of a sudden, I'm aware that even the council chairman that did this, he was outgoing. Probably he did it so that he would be accommodated wherever he was actually heading to. So the point remains that we've seen this many times. It doesn't sound good. Look at what Falana was actually mentioning. Falana was saying, for sure, that it is only a local government listed in the constitution have the authority to name streets. He was referring to Bariga area, the Bariga own. I just mentioned the one that has to do with Jeremy. If Lodun's local government area, they did theirs, that was around towards the ending of 2024 and early 2025. But the one of Bariga is generating more dust. Why? Because Charlie Boy bus stop was renamed. And I saw some posts, even Rufai and many other commentators, they said, do you know why the people named that bus stop Charlie bus stop? This guy was I'm talking about Charlie Boy. He was awarding scholarships. Charlie Boy was doing community service development. He built hospital, clinic. He built quite a lot of things based on what he did. The people, not Charlie Boy, named it and went to local government to authenticate it. And then it must be stated that after he had done all those things, somebody, the Bariga Local Council Development Area, under the outgoing chairman, Kolade Alabi David, renamed this street. For what? And we must state here that Bariga is not a local government mentioned in the 1999 Constitution. Lagos has 20 local governments constitutionally recognized, likes of Agege, Alimocho, Amufo Odofina, Papa Badagry, Ebe, Etiosa, Ibejuleki, and then Ifakojaye, Ikeja, Ikorodu, Kosofe, and so many of them, even Lagos Island and Lagos Mainland, Mushin Ojo, and so many of them, Chomolu and Suru, these are the ones mentioned. But the other ones created, the 37 LCDA,
yes.
Local Council Development Authorities, that Tinubu created in sometime, I think it was in 2003, that he created that to bring Lagos local government to about currently 57. So the point I'm trying to make is Bariga is not mentioned in the Constitution, and then it does not retain the right as mentioned under Section 3, subsection 6 of the 1999 Constitution, and also First Schedule, Part 1, which lists the entire 774 local government by name. So, which power has Bariga to rename local government where the Constitution, under First Schedule, Part 1, after list, and those are assigned responsibility to them, and one of the responsibilities has to do with naming streets. So, Bariga now assume such role even without a constitutional mention, without constitutional recognition, now change street. Then if the other one, the one I Jeremy, if you don't, if they had done that, that one can also be understandable. But the one of Bariga, there's no way it is tenable.
Okay. Before you take the course, from available record, they are saying that the Charlie Boy bus stop, which is known as a landmark area in border area of Lagos State, that it was not officially created or named through government registry. Right, just like you pointed out, based on the works that Charlie Boy did, the works rooted in activism, community engagement, what have you not, empowerment effort in that neighborhood, then those people now began to call that very place Charlie Boy bus stop. And now, particularly, they are saying that Charlie Boy, who happens to be a veteran musician, that sometime he conducted outreach programs, concert and empowerment schemes. In particular, that he was supporting Okada riders in that very area, and he went ahead to establish an Okada park in front of his house, and employed over 4,000 riders through his Code Red Foundation and other efforts. Then the community now came together in recognition of what he did, and they began to refer to that very bus stop as Charlie Boy bus stop from that moment till what just happened.
Let me tell you this. They removed that name from registry. It's just a makeup. Because we know that Charlie bus stop is not Charlie Boy bus stop. That the word is Charlie bus stop. From Charlie Boy anyway. Charlie bus stop. That's the name of the bus stop. And when it came into being, it was authenticated. Anybody can remove anything from registry and try to make up why that we have to change it from what it used to. Okay, what answer would they give to the other ones they have also removed, the Igbo names? So we are also not on registry. See, forget all this makeup. This is cosmetics for me.
The question
pure
would
cosmetic.
Be from my end, what difference does this removal make?
It makes a lot of difference. It is one, the psychological difference it makes tells a lot. A way of telling those people there that you guys are not welcome there. These are things, even there are many Yoruba people that are not happy with this. Many Kogi and so many people from different parts
so you see
they are not happy.
From an ethnic perspective.
From ethnic perspective, and if not, what else?
Okay, now it has come under fire. Do you see any reversal being made in the coming days?
I think it is left for someone. I know very well that the newly elected local council chairman is like the one we are talking about, the Barriga. He is leaving. Somebody won, and possibly if the person who is coming can correct these anomalies, and the APC as a party can also issue directive. It is happening in the state, and they work as a party. You don't do this. I am aware that if you come down to the east here, there are so many streets bearing Yoruba name. I have a Wolowo street here. You have Shoyinka Street, sometimes road. And you have both Akonde Street. There are so many streets here. And even when these people never lived in those areas, they never lived in those areas. They never contribute just because they are national icons. Now we thought it wise to, right? A kind of honor them in our own way. But the people we are talking about now, they lived in those areas. Charlie Boy was living there, contributed to the development of that area, stayed here, paid taxes. The people we have their own names here never paid tax to any of the states here. They never paid tax, but we have their names. But you may say that Tony, we don't have much of their names because many of them never lived there.
Okay, Tony, just to localize this before you open the phone lines. In 2018, Abakaliki Street was renamed to Club Road in Oka.
Yes.
And it pitted Anambra against Ebonyi. So why do we always have these conversations rooted in tribalism, ethnicism, or where someone comes from whenever we have this kind of development?
I think the government of Willie Obiano at that time gave reasons why he wanted to rename that very place.
He wanted to because he barely stuck.
No, the reason he gave was purely security reasons. It's purely security reasons. And he was saying that street has negative implications. It is known for a place where both cultists, armed robbers, and prostitutes. And it has given the state capital a wrong naming. And it is also bad for a place that is lovable like Abakaliki to be in sync or synonymous with where all these things happen. More like he talked to the governor of Ebonyi State at that time. He said, I'm just trying to extricate, because sometimes when these things happen on that street, the narration is, Abakaliki people. And the governor was saying, we need to save the name of this place. We need to save the name of this very place. If you don't save the name, people will see all the crimes going on in that area to be synonymous to the people who originally have this place as their own land. So that's what he did. And the governor of Ebonyi State understood that. There was conversation. There was consultation. Even when it happened, there was some kind of until explanations. Okay, now what explanation would these people give? Yes, the one Frank mentioned generated rumpuses, but there was explanation that we must save the people from that area because this area is now becoming synonymous with all manner of prostitution. And we know Abakaliki Street before now in Oka is a place where you go, you see all these harlots.
Let's
true.
dwell on that. But your point has been made. I would have loved us to talk about some the kind of disasters we are having, especially because of the season we are in. Adamawa yesterday had, according to records, 8 casualties from a flood disaster from 1 a.m. to about early morning today, and unfortunately 8 bodies have been found so far. More people are still being searched for. And then also we are getting ecological warnings from groups like NEMET, warning that in the coming days it's going to be a lot of flooding in different parts of the country. I also saw a report something about Nigeria not immune to earthquake and such disasters. I would have loved us to take a look at those matters, but we are totally out of time, Tony, so we need to open the phone lines now. 0803-221-6973, 0803-827-6694. Go straight to the point. You have 2 minutes. Please be as objective as possible, and please be as audible as possible. Turn down the volume on your radio set. Good morning.
Good morning. Badmos Honor from Newi.
Go ahead. Yes, please.
Good. I want to talk about this APC national chairman. You know, all these people that are shouting, we want to make Nigeria great, Nigeria is going to come out from the slum, are the people who do not understand the system. If you understand how the system of this country works, you will lose hope in this country. Do you know that most high-ranking police officers, even all these federal civil servants you see, they are all recommended by politicians. Road safety, including even the military, they are recommended by politicians. Now, let me go down to the INEC, the one that the now current chairman of APC left and became an APC member. He was there on the recommendation of the governor of the state, who has now appointed him minister or whatever. This country, if we bring out the roots on how things goes on in this country, we see that for this country to move forward, it is very far. For this country to move forward, it will take time. You understand? How can the governor be recommending who becomes the INEC chairman, the president now appoint the state rec and other things? In fact, we need to overhaul.
All right, then.
Overhaul this
Your point.
system, we are going nowhere.
All right, your point is clear, but must have to let you go. We quickly need to attend to some commercials. We get back to the phone lines immediately after. To stay.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
AFM. We give you more than properties. We give you opportunities. From Nkwele to Umuya, Oka to Umweri, from Oba to Agleri, Mbako to Oji River, from Emene to Asaba, Aba to Abuja, Lagos to Imo. AFF is planning possibilities in over 20 states across Nigeria with free inspection. We are in Alkanai table water, purity in every drop. We are in wine, the refreshment for your soul. Get 5% interest in just 3 months or grow it to 20% in 1 year. No story, just favor.
You register with Obelego. I get just one plot of land in
AFF Landport Global Estate Limited, where favor meets opportunity. Visit our physical office at number 56 Tony Ume Street, Awada, or call us now on 070-6567-6913. AFF Ujane Mogo.
commercial city of Onitsha comes Udala Radio 104.7 FM, the voice of the region, where authentic news and entertainment meet. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
The phone lines are still open. 08032216973, 08038276694. You're still listening to The Polity. Hello, good morning. You would need to reconnect. All right, let's hear what you have to say. Good morning.
My name.
Go straight to the point. Good morning.
Can I go on?
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. You see, all this remaining of streets in Lagos, and all this, should I call it political stigmatization against the Igbos started since Ebola Ahmed Tinubu lost to P2B in 2023 presidential election in Lagos. That was when all these things started. But it is unfortunate that no ethnic group in this country wants to engage the Igbos in a healthy competition. Not just competition, but in a healthy competition. They are all afraid of the Igbos, So all these things that happened in Lagos did not just happen. It has the backing of the president. Ahead of 2023, all these things are kind of intimidation, harassment, just to scare the Igbos away from participating in 2027 presidential election in Lagos State. And as for these bootlickers, the one who is asking people to drop his ambition and support Tinubu, they are just doing all these things, just like the one from Nnewi, They are doing all these things, trying to please the Yoruba people, but all to no avail. Even that local council chairman, former local council chairman, is not going to be there again because this is one of the policies that no Igbo should be councillor or local government chairman again in Lagos. So no matter how they pray, no matter how they try to be more Yoruba than the Yoruba people, they will never be recognized. When you tell your brother, even the buyer will not trust you. So the point is this: all these things are intimidation, harassment, calculative, and designed by the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He has the backing of all these things happening in Lagos. So we should not be jittery, we should not be discouraged. Good morning.
Good morning. Let's hear what you have to say. Do not forget we are live on Facebook at Udala Radio 104.7. You can drop your comment right under the post related to this particular show. All you have to do also is to put a call across. You can also go watch us on YouTube at Udala Radio. Let's hear what you have to say. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, Udala. My name is Ebuka. I'm calling you from Udala.
Go ahead.
Yeah. What I want to say is this: if you Igbo people are too many in Lagos, the local government somehow started to change the names of the Igbos that are in the streets or roads. See, this one Nigeria that everybody is speaking. I want everybody to speak it now. That the people that are not the main people that are supporting one Nigeria and pushing one Nigeria are only the Igbos. Even other people that are saying one Nigeria just say it with the mere mouth, just to use mouth to say it. But the main people that are practicing one Nigeria are the Igbos, and that this surface all over the country. If you go to Lagos, if your man wants to eat Igbo man money. If your man is managing Igbo man company, he run it the way he wants. If the company goes down.
Are you there? Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened over there. Good morning.
Good morning, the honorables in the house.
Welcome. Go straight to the point.
Yeah, I am Honorable Olisa Mbeki, and I'm calling from Polity this wonderful morning.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Just like the last caller, nobody in this country is more Nigerian than an Igbo man. An Igbo man remains the only person I have seen in this country that will go to any part of the country and feel at home, buy land, build houses, build industry, invest in development of that country, of that part of the country, wherever he finds himself. Tell me how many Yorubas and Hausas that are helping to develop the southeastern part. None. But we keep receiving the stray bullets from all angles. But I don't want to talk about that one. It's left for my brothers to learn. On the other side, I like being holistic in whatever I'm doing. At least I'll try as much as possible I can. Sometimes we the Igbos attack ourselves first. Let's say the truth. I disagree with Tony on his analysis over Anambra State to be naming Abakaliki Street just because that place is known for prostitution and armed robbery and the cultism that the governor gave. That is pure deceit. If you like, change that place name to Bishop Street or Bishop whatever name you like. You did not fight that crime there. The crime will continue. Is the name of that street, Abakaliki Street, is the name the source of the crime there or the crime itself? This is pure hatred from the pit of hell that we the Igbos are attacking our fellow Igbos. Go to Ebonyi State today. You will see more than 20 streets, including Spelling. I'm not from Abakaliki. Yes, but I'm from Ebonyi State. I'm not from Abakaliki. I'm from Udala. You understand? I learned that Spelling. I know I can't pronounce the name very well. I'm not comfortable with that side. I had it with an Anambra man. So let's try to love ourselves first, so that we should stop being attacked by other regions and they will go scot-free. Thank you.
All right then. Thank you for your contribution. We have a few more minutes before we go over to the Facebook portal. Good morning.
Badmus, you called me off on the first line.
It must have been the network, Badmus. You can round off.
Good. Based on the remaining of the street, I love it. I like the way they are naming the street. Let me tell you something. This thing that is happening started in 2015 when the Oba of Lagos said that he will push Igbos into Lagoon. That is when it did not start today. This arrangement started then. And these people, the Igbo people there, they are still there thinking the next tsunami that will hit them in Lagos will be in 2027. You understand? That will be the time they will face the highest tsunami in Lagos and other southwestern states. If they don't have sense, let them not relocate most of their things to a safer state. As I'm talking to you, Southwest is not safe for Igbo people. Southwest, especially Lagos State, is not safe for an Igbo man. It is better you go and live in Iraq or Iran, invest in Iran or Iraq, than for you to invest there. This is what we should be putting inside our children, starting from now.
Okay. At this point, Badmas, I am sorry I have to let you go because I think you are towing the path of this same division that we keep preaching against on this platform. Tony, you want to say something?
So, Igbos are told to leave the north and come back to the southeast. They are told to leave the south, or the southwest, and come back to the southeast to invest. So, where is safe for the Igbos?
I think Badmos, you're actually making a wrong assumption, wrong statement. Let's be honest to ourselves. These places our brothers are, met many of them. They became who they are, the fortunes they have as a result of that very place. There is nothing like hospitality, and what we are doing here is to preach that oneness and hospitality. Where you made a mistake or where you go wrong, we have to point it to you. So, and see, let me say this. Many of the people you are saying they should live there and all that, many of them are indigenous of that very place by naturalization. Go and read Constitution. They are indigenous of that very place by naturalization. Just as Ngige was telling Faleke that I'm a Lagos boy. You know, you remember that very spot. He said, you are a Munchi boy, I'm a Lekki boy, and all that. So, please, Nigeria, we have a constitution that says you can live and work anywhere. See, And somebody who did say something about my analysis on Abakaliki Street, I must let you know that there was another street renamed on Abakaliki Street. Abakaliki Street was not delisted, just that the government says that very area where it is, we want to take it another place. I remember that when this thing happened, it was sometime in 2018.
2018.
The Ebonyi State House of Assembly issued a 7-day ultimatum to Anambra State government to reverse the renaming or face reciprocal renaming of Anambra named structures in Ebonyi State. And I know even Chinedu Oga also raised it. But Anambra State government tendered explanation. What did they do? They named, there's another Abakaliki Street along Onitsha Enugu Expressway. So the name Abakaliki Street did not go out or did not go missing. It's still there. Just that a government can replace street naming. So what happened in the case you mentioned was a case of replacing based on security reason. Now they now take, or the government took Abakaliki naming to another street along Onitsha Enugu Expressway. It is still there today. So my brother, we must make an informed statement. Not every time we come here and they shout all these things. And even Ebonyi State government later endorse it. Even the new renamed Abakaliki Street, they endorse it and they accepted it and accepted the reasons given. So understand that. So the point I'm trying to make is, Badmos, don't tell anybody that it's better to invest. Iran is no going place, or Iraq. Our people are in Lagos. They have built their fortunes, and their fortunes will not just go wasted. And they must remain in Lagos unless they decide on their own to make any adjustment. But we will be here to preach to them. That place is yours. You are a Nigerian, and nobody will take it away from you. If the local government authorities, if they make mistake, we will tell them they made a mistake. That is the truth.
And we have to know that it's not even possible that all Igbos will bring home their investment. It's not possible. You encourage them to bring home their investment, but it's not possible. Everybody be going and watching. Now look at the Facebook page. Dubem Stanley says, okay, he's thanking us for the analysis. Okay, thank you for following us. Good acid. Okay, he also says keep up the good work with Udala Radio, and then Flux the Pious from there. We also thank you for joining us. And then Obaleze Paul, okay, says Idimogu should leave P2B, let them test their popularity in 2027 election. Ikengam Paul says, my speaker, changing the name of the bus stop is needless and meant to cause confusion. It is difficult to erase the name from the mind of the people. Bus drivers will continue to call it Charlie Boy bus stop. And I agree with you. This one says, I'm Austin Mogu from FM Onitsha. On what Lagos did by renaming changing them with the name of their choice. I don't blame them, because we both did it to our fellow people here in Southeast. We should be careful how we treat ourselves here in Southeast, because other tribes will toe the same line and do the same to us. And as Hillary says, the bus stop still remain Charlie Boy bus stop. Come rain, come shine. No matter the change of name, it is still Charlie Boy bus stop. They can change the name of the bus stop, but they can't change the name on people's hearts. And this one is from John Mboy. He says, what the man said about or said against P2B is vintage. Alright, sorry, I must say that your message is quite confusing, your post. Sebastian Abiwe says, looking at what is happening in our political space, where it is the prerogative power of Mr. President to appoint the INEC chairman and Chief Justice of Nigeria, I guess Nigeria cannot make any headway. Nigeria will help it. That's the way he ended his post on our Facebook page. And let's quickly acknowledge the post made by Dr. Olebara, who says, a country that encourages illegality needs sympathy and attention. A lot of unacceptable things keep going on in this country. Silence or neutrality in the face of evil is reasonable. Any good person who sees evil fails to speak out, or rather praises and encourages evil act, will receive more punishment from God than the doer of the evil. We endure a lot of immoral acts. Why is it that what works well in other lands are impossible in ours? Can investment thrive in an insecure or unfavorable environment? Our problems are critical and require urgent and drastic solutions. And she wrote from Owerri State.
All right, then. This is where we get to take down the curtain on today's edition of the show. I'm sorry we cannot take any more calls. But Tony, you might want to give us your last words for today.
I think we have to really see things through the mirrors and then have this belief that there could be trials, but that doesn't mean that this is this. I think the other time you saw the Ghanaians chasing Nigerians saying they must leave Ghana. They must leave Ghana. They are criminals. They are this, they are that. Quite a lot of things. I think I have that on my status right now. So that tells you that if you don't make it home, strangers will treat you the way they would want to treat you. But that does not necessarily mean they hate you. It's a reminder. Go and build your home. They don't hate you like that. Go and build your home. You must make a home. And at the same time, make choices. So whenever you come around there, they will welcome you. I'm talking about what happened in Ghana. And how Nigerians are being treated in Ghana.
All right then, Franklin.
Well, why we encourage our people that you need to think home, but to give a blanket directive or tell people that whether you are in the north, whether you're in the south, you must bring home your invest, don't invest. No, it cannot fly, because I want to equate by that north is not conducive, southwest is not conducive, south side is not conducive. Now only south is very conducive.
Where is conducive?
It's not possible.
Akuruno is good, but it should be something that your mind in Kegina that's the way it should be, not by giving such a blanket order.
All right then, thank you gentlemen for your contribution this morning. We take down the curtain at this point. The Polity is going to make a return tomorrow from 9:15 down to 11 a.m. Like I would always say, at the end of every edition of the Polity, probably when we see a better Nigeria, I might decide to change sides. But for now, I still believe that the Nigeria we all desire is in our hands. So do the right thing today. Good morning.